this is the reason that we have chosen social workers is, in our experience of working with domestic violence survivors, a lot of times survivors would come to us and ask us, is there a way you could explain something to my mother-in-law? Is there a way you could explain something to my husband? I don't want to go to the police station. I don't want to go to the legal system. Can someone come and explain what they're doing is not right? And usually this was the time when, we would fall short of answers, because the only remedies that we could then give them is, you should be aware of your legal rights, you can go to the police station. Most survivors did not want to do this. And so when we were thinking about mediation as a whole, as a program, as a structured program, that is when we realized that social workers who are already embedded in community, the use cases for those people is much higher, because at the base of all issues lies family conflict. So irrespective of what social issue there is, whether it's gender, whether it's sanitation, education, conflict, disaster, everywhere family violence is at the base of everything. So how do we develop a non adversarial way to handle these kind of issues and create a more healthy environment? And we thought social workers have already embedded the system. They are already there working within communities on their specific areas, and so they would make for the best candidates for this training.
The emotional toll of domestic disputes is often overlooked in legal processes. How does mediation offer a more sensitive and survival focused path to healing?
Right. So the first thing is to understand domestic violence. We look at a very narrow definition of domestic violence. Domestic violence does not only mean intimate partner violence, it also means all sorts of violence in domestic relationships. It could be parent to child, it could be child to parent, it could be, of course, between spouses, in laws, all of those issues exist. It could also be parent to child, elderly abuse. All of these different forms of abuse with people you cohabitate exist. So there is very little understanding of the emotional aspect of abuse, whereas our law in the protection of women against domestic violence covers emotional abuse as a very important issue. However, um, finding emotional support in the legal system is something that is very difficult, because the legal education does not encompass these aspects of sensitization, right? So that is why mediation becomes then a very good way, because this particular program we have actually included three topics which are generally not present in mediation training programs. One being understanding psychology, the other being using a trauma informed approach, and the third is gender sensitization. So not only are we training on mediation, we are also training on the softer aspects of behavioral skills, or context in society. I think that will lead to more sensitized help and support. The other thing is also that in cases where physical violence is present, either ways we do not recommend mediation. Where physical violence is present, we always say please use the legal route. That's the best route.
Given the overwhelming interest in this initiative, what's next for Invisible Scars Foundation, and how can individuals or organizations get involved in scaling this effort nationwide?
Okay, thank you for that question. That's a wonderful question. So, this is just the first of what we are hoping to be many more training programs. We cannot just sensitize one batch of 32 people and say we are done. This is a movement. So, we need to go across the country, Hyderabad being the focal point, where survivor support for domestic violence, mediation, both are at its peak right now. And so the best would be to bring other states, people from other states. And when we look for support, we look for support so organizations can support us in various ways, funding being one of the ways. They can give us the opportunity to come and do awareness and sensitization programs with their staff. People can volunteer for our initiatives. We need technology help. We are out there, we are asking you for help. what is next, besides doing several other these family mediation training programs, Invisible Scars Foundation is now working on a workplace domestic violence policy. We believe that if organizations take up responsibility both for a survivor who comes to work or an abuser who is coming to work, we can again find very reformative ways of working with both survivors and abusers. There is no retribution, it becomes simpler to handle these. One of the good examples is Urban Company, and I would like to mention them because they have a workplace domestic violence policy for their partners. We are beginning to see partners speak up and ask for help. I think it's wonderful, and we want more organizations. This is a very widely accepted way to work in the West, and so we are saying that if organizations in India also start to implement a workplace domestic violence policy, because usually organizations come back saying, oh, it's a family matter, why should we get involved? And we answer that by saying, no, it's a human rights violation, it is not a family matter, please step forward. It's your moral and social responsibility as an organization to support domestic violence survivors and to work with abusers in non retributive ways. And so we want to focus on family mediation and the workplace domestic violence policy, besides the survivor support, which we are already doing with the help of Infosys Foundation.
See, the mediation movement has been going on in India for quite some time now. It's almost 2 decades now. And most of the mediation initiatives have been taken by the honorable courts, with the honorable Supreme Court leading the way. Now, the issues come to mediation are referred by the courts for mediation after the dispute has escalated and has come to the court. So therefore, we feel that it is very important that the problem should be nipped in the bud. So that is why we thought that we train the social workers, people who are working at the community and social level, who can be trained in all the techniques of mediation, so that they can intervene in the conflict in the very beginning stages of the conflict, so that it doesn't get escalated to a state where you have to invoke the jurisdiction of the courts or go to the police station. So that is where this kind of a training is very significant, because it actually prevents disputes from escalating. So that is where I feel that this is a very important initiative that has been taken by the IAMC along with Invisible Scars. See, the answer for that is actually very simple if you look at it in that way, because when 4.91 lakhs cases are pending, the figure is much more. These are only the domestic violence cases that are pending. If you look at the family disputes that are pending before the courts, the number is huge. And the statistics are really mind-boggling. So therefore, this initiative would, if it is taken at a larger level and if it is spread throughout the country, that would substantially ease the burden of the courts, because a lot of these cases will not be coming to the courts at all. They'll be getting resolved at a level of the family, at the level of the community itself. See, this training was unique in the sense that it incorporated a lot of elements that are usually missing in the normal, mediation training that we see. Because there are 3 components of that which are very significant, which I would like to mention here. The first one is that we included trauma-informed mediation practices. We included psychology. We included gender sensitization. So with these 3 elements and with the kind of focus that was given on the communication and the negotiation skills that the mediators bring to the table, this training was very unique in that sense. And it was more focused on the aspect of how the psychological approach can be taken towards resolving the family problems. So therefore, this was the difference between this training and any other trainings that are usually offered for mediation.